Being able to use on-camera flash is critical in photography. For me, speedlights are the answer to every lighting challenge when you're out on the road. Let's have a look why. If this is your first time here on the channel, then welcome. We talk photography, and then some more photography. And if you'd like to improve your camera work or just chat about pictures, then hit the subscribe button and join us in the debate. So I've given talks in colleges, universities and many camera clubs and societies. And over that time, one thing has become apparent. When people get into photography for the first time, there's a natural tendency for them to be drawn towards landscapes and street photography. And one of the main reasons for that is this: flash. It scares the bejeez out of so many photographers. It gets them running for any discipline where they record the light, but they're not necessarily in control of it. But eventually everybody realizes that the key to being a good photographer is the ability to control the light. It's what separates enthusiasts from more advanced photographers. So mastering one of these is something you're going to have to do if you want to broaden your skill set and become a better photographer. So let's dive in and see why speedlights are our friend and nothing to be afraid of. Now, my Nikon speedlights go everywhere with me. They are my lighting source day in, day out. Easy to carry, they're small but they pack a heck of a punch. I can easily have 4 or 5 in the bag, which gives me instant versatility. They're like little supercomputers. They put out infrared beams, they measure distances, they talk to the camera's onboard light meter, they make calculations, they output exact right amounts of flash, all calculated in a nanosecond. And when the speedlight is talking to the camera's onboard computer in this way, it's called TTL, which stands for through the lens. The flash is operating with info being gathered through the lens. In TTL mode, the camera and flash will give a good exposure most of the time, so it's a great place to start out with your flash gun. But there are things that are going to fool it, because the onboard metering is always going to be trying to expose the whole image, and there may be times when a large, bright or dark area of the image will fool it into throwing the wrong amount of light out. TTL's not an option here then. Well, hang on a minute. That's not actually true, because TTL mode does have a trick up its sleeve, one which a lot of people don't seem to use. And I'm bemused as to why, really. I really don't know. You see, on TTL, the speedlight gives you the option to over and under power the flash with an EV compensation of its own. 3 stops either way. That's 6 stops control over the flash lighting in TTL. And it's different to using the EV on the camera, because that's overexposing the whole image, but the EV on the flash is controlling just the exposure from the flash gun, so just the subject. Effectively, by using EV on the flash, you're controlling the same background exposure, but altering the light on the subject. So let's have a quick look at how that works in practice. Here's a photo of me in front of some windows, and I shot this picture on TTL. The camera tries to expose me and the windows and does a little bit of a bad job because it's trying to expose everything. It cuts the flash off early and I'm hopelessly underexposed. So let's flick the EV up on the camera. I've flicked it up +2 and I'm still underexposed. Let's try +3. Now I'm a bit overexposed. +2.3. That's it. I'm exposed correctly. That's better. But the window detail isn't. The camera is now being told to expose for the subject and is disregarded the background, which has no detail. But what if we use the speedlight's EV instead of the camera's? We'll tell the flash gun to overexpose the subject, but we won't tell the camera to overexpose anything. Let's give it a go. Boom! Look at that. I've got the flash gun EV here set to +3, and now the balance is perfect. Oh, and all this happens in reverse too. If you're photographing somebody in a room with low light, the TTL will probably blast out too much light and bleach the subject out. Put the flash EV down and it will tame that light and enable you to capture more of the dark background. Now, for those wanting uber control, we have manual mode. Now here's that picture of me again. This time we've got the flash on manual. It's on the camera. It's not really a great deal different from that TTL flash where we put the EV up +3. This puts the speed light into a complete manual setting. Mine has power going from full power to 128th power. The power halves each time, so full power, half power, quarter power, etc, etc. I often use manual when I want specifically to get that studio lighting look. It's different to auto, it's more noticeable I suppose. It's got that harsher, positive effect. You could positively see the flash on it. And it also gives me the option to add a few more speed lights to get that full studio effect. Now, I like to be on full manual, starting with the camera. If that's on program, then it's going to try to communicate with the speed lights to try and have some control on the effect. The speed light on the camera, I also put that to manual, and I have the satellite speed lights on manual too, and I set them to remote, which means that the photosensitive cell on each flash gun will trigger as soon as it sees the flash from the flash gun on the camera, meaning all the flashes fire at exactly the same time. Well, technically they don't, do they? No, the camera speed light is first, and the others fire at the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles per second. And as my camera shutter only goes up to 8 thousandths of a second, it's fair to say, for all intents and purposes, that the flashes fire together. Now here's that picture of me again, but this time I'm using two flashes on manual, one on the camera pointed left and a flash gun on the left, so the main light source is on the left hand side. And can you see it's starting to give a sculptural effect to the face, much more of a studio look. Probably a bit too dark on the right. What about if I put another flash gun on the right hand side? Oh, and there you have it. So now we've got a much more of a studio look to these flashes. I'm using them on manual. There's 3 of them, and that one on the right hand side, used as a rim light, is filling in really, really nicely. So different from the original TTL pictures. And look at the detail in the sky behind. Perfectly balanced. Certain cameras, and also with the addition of radio triggers, will give you the option of using multiple flashes with TTL. But as you need to buy an extra trigger separately, I'll save that for another video. I hope that's thrown some light into the world of camera flash, if you'll excuse the pun. And let's hope some people might be inspired enough to go out and experiment with their speed lights, see what they can do. With modern kit, it really is not as hard as you might think. And once you've mastered your flash gun, you can start subtly mixing ambient and flash together and create some stunning images. I hope you've enjoyed this look at speedlights, and if you've got any value from it, please consider subscribing or giving the video a thumbs up. Now, if you'd like to see how I've used flash in some of my pictures, check out my guide to taking better portraits by clicking this link here.